As dusk falls at the end of an 18-day passage across the open ocean, the vessel slows her engines. Ahead, a faint amber glow begins to bleed over the horizon line. The global maritime transport network facilitates the movement of 90 several nautical miles offshore. A highly skilled local harbor pilot must physically climb aboard the moving 300-meter vessel by means of a Jacob's ladder, a flexible wooden and rope construct suspended over moving water. Once aboard, the pilot brings intimate knowledge of the harbor's seabed contours and tidal currents. Together, the bridge team navigates the port's traffic separation scheme, a strictly regulated routing system continuously monitored by operators at Vessel Traffic Services. As the vessel nears its assigned quay, two harbor tugs push and pull against the massive steel hull, applying precisely calculated force to control the swing rate and bring the ship laterally against the berth. Heavy mooring lines are hauled across to the dock. Finally, the master rings the engine telegraph to "finished with engines." The 18-day physical passage is complete. Yet the romantic promise of a welcoming shore immediately begins to shatter. The instant those mooring lines are tied, the vessel ceases to function as a solitary ship. She is swallowed whole by a 24-hour industrial engine, locked into a massive geometrical grid as a temporary node in the global supply chain. An immediate wave of statutory bureaucracy begins. A ship agent steps aboard with urgent paperwork, followed by customs officials inspecting the cargo manifest, immigration authorities verifying passports, and port health officers reviewing international health declarations. The crew must also navigate port state control. Inspectors can legally examine everything from the ship's fire safety systems to the crew's work hour records. Any serious deficiency means the ship can be administratively detained, a constant, exhausting threat hovering over an already intense operation. While the paperwork is signed, the modern container terminal begins its brutal arithmetic. The turnaround window for a massive vessel is 24 to 30 hours. The crew is thrust into a chaotic roar of swinging ISO containers, tractor trailers, and towering ship-to-shore gantry cranes. The entire terminal operates with absolute precision for a single objective: cargo throughput. In the face of that urgency, the humanity of the seafarer is eclipsed by the demands of the supply chain. Under the Maritime Labor Convention of 2006, every seafarer is legally entitled to shore leave for the benefit of their health and well-being. It is an enshrined right to step off the steel deck and walk on stable ground during their free time. In operational practice, that right collides with the modern security apparatus. Following 2001, the International Ship and Port Facility Security Code transformed every major commercial terminal into a highly restricted zone, locked behind chain-link fences and strict identity checks that frequently prevent crew from ever stepping outside the gate. Even if a crew member manages to secure an exit pass, they face a geographic reality. The container revolution drove ports out of historic city centers and into vast industrial estates, tens of kilometers away from the nearest town. These zones are transport deserts, requiring expensive, prearranged taxis just to reach civilization. Data reveals a stark consequence. 50% of seafarers cannot take shore leave. Within that isolated half, 20 to 30% report symptoms of clinical depression or significant anxiety. Vessel confinement is documented as a primary contributing factor. The crew can see the vibrant city lights glowing just over the horizon, but they are physically and administratively forbidden from participating in it. The modern port call has quietly turned landfall into an exercise in psychological endurance. For the seafarers who do manage to step off the ship, or simply need an advocate to visit the dock, an international network of welfare charities provides a fragile lifeline. Organizations like the Mission to Seafarers maintain physical centers and port chaplains in hundreds of ports worldwide. These volunteers offer the absolute basics of human connection: a few hours of free Wi-Fi to call their families, a hot meal cooked by someone else, a local SIM card, and a neutral, quiet place to sit on a real sofa. But that brief window closes as quickly as it opens. The gantry cranes lift away, the final cargo plan is signed, and the departure pilot climbs aboard. The mooring lines are slipped, and the harbor tugs pull the vessel back out into the fairway. The intersection between the ship and the land proves to be entirely transactional. It ends abruptly the moment the cargo is exchanged, regardless of the physical or mental condition of the crew left on board. Port economists can track modern shipping by breaking a single voyage into 3 distinct phases: time spent steaming on the open ocean, time spent waiting at outer anchorage, and time spent executing frantic cargo operations inside the port limits. In many global trades, the waiting and port time combined now equals or exceeds the actual time spent at sea. This creates a relentless cycle. The world economy depends entirely on these invisible crews to maintain this tempo, voyage after voyage, year after year, compounding their fatigue and isolation over decades-long careers. The ship meets the land, trades its cargo, and returns to the deep water, without most of its people ever touching the earth they spent weeks trying to reach. The only place a modern seafarer is never restricted, never behind a security fence, and never asked for documentation is the open ocean itself.